what is the best way to achieve stability and peace in Israel and Palestine in the current situation and in the next 5-10 years?
If people wanted to get to peace, it's relatively straightforward. There's already a deal that was negotiated. The Saudis agreed to it, and they're an important player in this game. The Palestinians and the Israelis have initially agreed to it. Even Hamas has kind of agreed to it. That deal exists, and it's just waiting on the shelf to get done, right? And it's pretty straightforward. Israel gets out of the West Bank and Gaza Strip, but they keep X percentage. It used to be 4%, then it went up to 6%. It's probably a higher number now. The Palestinians keep losing leverage as we go, right? So you remember how hard it was to get a deal on Ukraine, I thought. That's a very complicated one. Israel's much more straightforward. Get the hell out of the occupied territories. Keep some of the those settlements are the worst thing. They're cancer. But anyway, I don't know. There is an answer to the settlements, and it's probably that Israel keeps them, even though that drives me crazy. No right of return for Palestinians. There'll be symbolic right of return for a couple of families. And so Palestinians go, oh, no way. Guys, you have no leverage. Take the deal. Take the deal. Okay? So you're not going to get a right of return. Israel's not going to allow millions of Palestinians to go and vote in Israel. It would end the Jewish state. You have to get to a practical solution. So honestly, the number one person blocking it now is Netanyahu. It's not even, that's obvious. That doesn't take a lot of courage to say that. He says publicly, I don't want a Palestinian state. I'm against a two-state solution. He's been monstrous. He's one of the worst terrorists of my lifetime. So that's easy. The right wing of Israel has lost its mind. So the Smotrich and the Ben Gvir is openly talking about ethnic cleansing and driving them into other Arab countries. This is the definition of ethnic cleansing. So, but I know that the Arabs are going to take the deal. Saudi Arabia cannot wait to take the deal because they just want to get business going, right?
Do you think Hamas takes the deal?
So I have a solution where you don't need Hamas. But yes, Hamas would definitely take the deal. Hamas already publicly said that they would even get rid of that Israel doesn't have a right to exist. But there's so much propaganda in American media. It's maddening, right? So, and this idea that you don't deal with Hamas is so dumb. So the reason it's dumb is you don't negotiate with your friends. You negotiate with your enemies. Well, I don't want to negotiate with them. I don't like them. Well, then you're not going to get to peace, right? But still, there is a path that doesn't include Hamas. So make a deal with Fatah that runs the West Bank. Then right now, if Fatah went into Gaza Strip, they wouldn't be able to manage it because they don't have enough credibility. They're mainly seen as in cahoots with the occupiers, whereas Hamas is hardcore and fighting against the occupiers. But if Fatah delivers a peace, not only a peace deal, but a Palestinian state, then they come in as heroes. So you make the deal with them, you let them run the Gaza Strip, and you empower them to drive out Hamas. That way, they do your dirty work for you in a sense, right? But good, because Hamas is a terrorist organization. They're not helpful. And especially if the Palestinians get a state, the violence has to stop immediately. That's the whole point. The trade is you get a state, Israel gets safety and peace.
So no more rockets at Israel.
No more rockets. If you do any other rockets, and Israel does the barbaric thing they just did, even I would say, hey, brother, we had a peace deal, okay? So if you violate a peace deal and you do a bomb, they're going to do a bomb, and their bomb is much larger, okay? So and by the way, can it work? It already has worked. Israel already did it with Egypt. So Egypt was 100 times Hamas. Egypt gathered all the Arab armies and actually physically invaded Israel when Israel could lose. And they did it several times. And Lex, at the time, not just the right, like the war hawks, but most people thought there's no way Egypt will keep that peace deal. Oh, they're suckers. We're giving them the Sinai Peninsula back, and then they're just going to keep bombing and attacking us. There hasn't been a single bomb from Egypt since the peace deal. Peace deals work. War gets you more war. Peace deals get you peace. And if you should never, this is true of all of life, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. So if you're saying, well, I'm not positive that a peace deal is going to be perfect and 12 more rockets might be fired. Well, brother, what do we have now, right? We have endless rockets now. If Israel's supposed to be a safe haven for Jews, and I get it and I want it, okay, then become a safe haven. The way that you're a safe haven is stop the occupation. It's not complicated. And the reason they're not, let's be honest, the reason the right-wing government of Israel is not stopping the occupation is because they want to take more and more land. And so they have throughout time taken way more of the West Bank than they had originally. And now Netanyahu is saying, I want a corridor in the middle of Gaza, and I want a corridor at the border of Egypt. Now we're back to occupying Gaza physically, let alone through power and et cetera.
So Bibi has to go.
Definitely.
What's the role of U.S. in making a peace deal like that happen?
It's going to sound outlandish, but I can get you a ceasefire almost overnight if Bibi's gone. And because the Israeli negotiators have said publicly, not publicly, it got leaked and it was in the Israeli press. You have to give us a little bit of wiggle room. If you don't give us a little bit of wiggle room, obviously they're not going to do the deal. And he's like, I know, right? That's why he's not giving them the wiggle room. So don't ask for land in Gaza. Get the hell out of Gaza. You just ceasefire. That's the easy part. So the hard part is the occupation, ending the occupation. But even that, I can get it to you in 2 months as long as Israel actually wants a deal. So go to an election, get rid of Netanyahu, put in, Benny Gantz. Is Benny Gantz an angel? No, he's the one that ordered all the bombings of Gaza to begin with, right? Benny Gantz has got massive war crimes on his record. So don't worry, he's not a softie, okay? But he's not my favorite guy in the world, to say the least. But Benny Gantz can do a peace deal if he wants to. So, look, only one group of people can actually settle this. Well, there's actually two groups of people. One is the Israeli population. You vote in someone who wants to do a peace deal, you'll get a peace deal, okay? Number two is the American president. So if I'm the American president, I'm saying in a hypothetical, right? Or any American president that actually wants to get a peace deal done. You just say, I'm going to cut the funding. Israel will do the deal immediately. They don't say they want to cut the funding because AIPAC gives them $100 million. It's not complicated, not 1% complicated.
Yeah.
So Lex, tell me this, okay? So if the U.S. president said, I'm going to cut the funding, do you think that it might have a giant problem for Netanyahu? Might it hurt his government? Might they have to go to an election? Would Israeli politicians, let alone the population, begin to really, really worry that they're going to lose an enormous source of funding and weapons?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So why wouldn't we use our leverage? It's crazy not to use our leverage.
Yeah. And this is where we go back to the steel man of Trump. It feels like he's the only one crazy enough to use that leverage. But crazy, I mean in a good kind of sense. Bold enough, not giving a shit about convention, not giving a shit about pressures and money and influence and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, but with the biggest asterisk in the history of the world, which is 12% chance he does that, and that's great. But a huge chance he does the opposite, and he goes, let's call it 80 again. 80%. Oh, yeah. Miriam wanted me to give Israel to West Bank to Israel. So you have it, guys, now. You just occupy the whole thing forever, okay? Giant war. Oh, yeah, I'm going to prove how tough I am. I'm going to nuke Iran. Oh, no. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, Trump is a massive risk. He's an enormous amount of risk. If you were running a company and not a country, would you hire Trump as your CEO? Everyone watching just screamed inside their heads, no! Okay, you would never take that kind of risk with your company. You got an 80% chance the guy's going to blow up the company? No way, and you know it too. Especially if you're a businessman, you know you're not going to hire that loose cannon to run your company. It's unacceptable risk. But you're not wrong. We talked about it earlier. But as part of that risk, there's a sliver in there that he could accidentally do the right thing.